All right, we're ready to go. Well, board members, thank you for being here. We have Mr. Fiala, Mr. Jajits, Mr. Somchak, and Mr. Augustine, and myself. And so a quorum is present. I'm happy to alert everyone to that fact if they couldn't observe it already, that we have a quorum, which always makes it easier to transact business. So I'll call to order the Tuesday, July 21st, 2026 Land Bank Board meeting. And I think we have minutes that have been circulated previously. Do we have any comments on the minutes? We have the right
We have the correct board. We should have the correct board
correct
members.
board members or the correct date and time.
Mhm.
Anything else?
A motion that we accept the minutes as written.
A motion by Mr. Sopcich. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
Mr. Jajis, thank you. Any other further discussion related to that? If not, if you're in favor of accepting the minutes as prepared, please say aye.
Aye.
If you're opposed, please say nay. That carries. Thank you. On the chairman's remarks, I'm just gonna note for purposes of the board and anyone else observing the meeting, we have Joe Carlini here. He is our summer MPA graduate intern. Thank you for being here. He just joined the team maybe a few weeks ago, Rob.
Yeah, just over 2 weeks ago.
Okay. Joe, thank you for being a part of the team. We appreciate it this summer. And I know you had the opportunity to participate in a class last semester with the former executive director whose class was focused on a lot of land bank issues. So we're glad you're here for the summer. I'm sure you're doing a great job. We're looking forward to working with you.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. Of course. So thank you for everything you're doing. I think I'm going to turn it over to the executive director. We have a bunch of updates I know on projects. We have some exciting stuff happening this week, including an event tomorrow, I think.
Correct.
So you want to brief the board on everything that's going on?
Yeah, I'll get right into the rehab projects. As you all are aware, the project at 27 Columbia Avenue is complete. And while I don't want to spoil all the details, there is a press announcement tomorrow. I believe you all should receive information on that. We'd welcome everybody to attend if they're able to. And we're looking forward to wrapping that up and getting that property out in the market. As it relates to the project at 5 Tremont Avenue, that is still progressing nicely, and we're looking to list that home after that one's completed, hopefully later this month or at this point, probably in August. And there's an item before the board today for a small amendment for that contract. This is for some unanticipated work that was not identified during the design phase and could not be identified during the design phase due to where it was located, and we also have the funds to cover that slight additional amendment. Other than that, the contractor is doing great work and he's moving quite well in that project. We're underway with the cleanouts of the 5 rehabs that we acquired from Broome County a little bit earlier this year. We've engaged Delta engineers for the environmental testing, and so far we've engaged both L2 Studios and will be engaging with Keystone Associates for some of the design work on those properties. As a friendly reminder, those 5 are 22 Andrews, 22 Beethoven Street, 115 Bigelow, 90 Evans, and 24 Hay Street. As it relates to our demo projects, the demolition projects, the properties that were previously approved for acquisition have been finalized. We just acquired them within the last week or so. And before you today are the official demolition resos for those 6 properties. There is a possibility that the landfill may be able to accept the ACM starting a little bit earlier in the fall than we have anticipated, but that's still to be determined. We're planning to stick with the normal time frame, which was sometime in either November or December of this year, unless we hear otherwise. And I have issued a notice to proceed to Keystone material testing for that round of demolitions for them to oversee as the environmental consultant and construction management of the project of the demolitions. Speaking of demolitions, there's a resolution before the board today for the potential side lot sale of 61 Park Avenue on the south side of Binghamton. As you all remember, this was a property that was demolished in the fall of last year that we're now looking forward to disposing of, and we'll discuss that in just a few minutes. As it relates to the former Vestal Nursing Home, the land bank has received the funds from the county for the project, and we are still working with our attorney and our realtor on the pending closing for that property. No date yet, but we are still working through that process. Additionally, as I mentioned last month, there have been several municipalities that have contacted us recently regarding some possible future foreclosures. We'll be keeping an eye out, and though Wendy is not here today, we'll be working with her department in the county as it relates to any future projects that we can potentially acquire and undertake demolition probably early or sometime next year. As it relates to our operating funds, we're continuing to attract expenses for the grant, which totals $200,000. I plan to issue another disbursement request in the coming weeks. And we'll be looking to renew that funding for an additional $200,000 either in August or September. And that'll cover an additional 1-year period starting in September, going through August of next year. As it relates to our capital funds, we'll also continue to track expenses there as it relates to our other projects, which includes the demolitions. Again, this supports the demos, pre-development expenses, as well as future acquisition and subsequent rehabilitation. Actually, HCR announced today, or a little bit earlier, have not had a chance to fully review it yet, but they did announce today another smaller round of some LBI funding that land banks can apply for. Application period begins in early August and will go through early September. After I've had a chance to fully dive into and review that all, I'll see if it's something that, depending on where we are with our current projects, if it's something we want to consider applying for. But I'll be sure to keep you all updated on that. As it relates to our VRP program, vacant rental program, the project at 18 McGatt Street, the first ward is fully completed and closed out. And the property owner has actually already identified a potential tenant and has provided us with that information of their income. We've been able to verify their income, and they're looking for a start date of August 1st in order to get that property up and rented. Bob Chan is continuing with his work at 21 Walnut Street. We've had several meetings with him and our CM there. We've actually been undertaking a recent site visit. He has fully renovated the roof. He's completed all internal demo, and his project is progressing well over there. And he is still shooting for hopefully an end of the year timeframe to be completed with that project. We finalized the award documents for 25 Church Street project and deposit, and we have received the lead report. Our CM is now in the process of drafting the scope of work to be discussed with the property owner, and we're hoping to bid out that sometime towards the end of the summer. We've had several productive meetings with our developers recently, including directly with Senator Leah Webb and her staff regarding the project 18 Carey Street. At this time, the property owner is considering only doing 3 units versus 4, because they were potentially going to do 4 units, including converting the attic space into a rental unit. However, by utilizing 3 floors of residential living, it will trigger in New York State Building Code the installation of a sprinkler system. Initial estimates we've gotten for that project that she's acquired for that property for a sprinkler system are anywhere between $75,000 and $90,000 for a sprinkler system
Sprinkler system
throughout the building.
on a 3-family, if you have a.
If you use a
3-family?
3rd floor of living. So because she was originally looking to convert the attic space to a 4th unit, that triggers 3 floors of residential living, which triggers our sprinkler system.
Not just 3-family, 3.
Correct. If there
Mr.
was,
Sopcich, there's a retirement job here if you want to go into installing
Yeah.
sprinkler systems for a
Yeah.
living.
so at the moment,
That's what I need is another job.
Yes.
she's considering just using 3 units, which she's aware and fully understands that would lower the VRP subsidy from $300,000 down to $225,000, but obviously cuts out a lot of other expenses by not going with the 4th unit. While she is still working out with the senator's office, everything regarding that DASNY grant, she is in the process of taking out a short-term construction loan to begin the process for the added expense on their end, and still can receive reimbursement through her DASNY grant. They're just still trying to finalize everything.
And that's up to the developer, right, Rob,
Correct.
to work with
Yes.
DASNY and the senator's office about any potential reimbursements. That's not gonna slow down the process as it relates to our grant funds.
No, correct.
Good.
And I've been advised by HCR.
And slow down, sorry, impact.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. For every project that includes funding that goes above and beyond the VRP subsidy, it has been the stance of our VRP reps in Albany and HCR that they want them to front that portion first anyway,
Makes sense.
and then VRP funds kick in. So regardless of whether or not DAR Developers receives the DASNY reimbursement or not, this exceeds the subsidy no matter what, and therefore they want them to kick in whatever funding they're utilizing first, up to the point where then in theory, with this case, not $300,000, but $225,000. But when the remaining $425,000 is left, then we would kick in the rest to ensure that the project comes to completion.
And that makes logical sense. We don't want to be the first in, have a half-done project, and then it can't get done.
Correct, because if we do not ultimately get a C of O or a CFC on the back end from the city, in theory, we're not reimbursed for HCR because it needs to be an occupiable unit. when it's all
Understood.
done. And she's been fully aware of that. And again, communication has been
Yep,
has
been
been
good
much
to work
better
with.
over the last couple of months.
Good.
And then, as I think I alerted you all last week, we did issue the new RFP for the purchase and redevelopment of 181 Holly Street. We increased the potential development incentive a little bit, so now it could be up to $300,000, so long as the awarded developer agrees to all programmatic requirements. That includes obviously income eligible tenants and meeting and agreeing to the state's VRP income,
Red cap.
Rent cap, thank you very much. Rent limits, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
And we're hopeful that we'll receive some interest on this in several proposals. And we are in the process of, we're gonna begin, now that it was issued about a week ago, we're gonna begin our round of follow-ups to everyone that we solicited originally. And we'll hope that we get some site visits here and some interest here shortly.
Good.
As it relates to tiny homes, we're in a little bit of a lull right now. As you all know, students wrapped up their work for the summer. They plan to pick it back up in the fall. We're still working through the site development with all parties. And my hope is to potentially bring a contract before you all either in August or September. And as well, we'd like to get probably a meeting this summer of all the stakeholders involved to discuss future funding, location options, because I know BOCES is very excited and would like to continue the program, but we need to have a plan of action as it relates to the fact that we haven't placed the first ones yet, and then how we go forward potentially with the second round.
I do think it's important that we see how it goes, right, to give us real data. I think we have an assumption that there's a need, based on studies, a need for housing across the spectrum, income, size, geographical location, all of the different factors. But I'm just gonna be fascinated to see how the response is to this. What would you say, Rob? I know I was there with you and others were there. I mean, the shell is all constructed inside. A lot of the work is done. There's some like finishing type stuff they need to do in the fall,
Yeah,
right? We're probably a month or two away. in
yeah,
the
I think
fall.
my last conversation with Matt Sheehan was around the time that we had the press conference announcement. At that time, he was estimating late October, early November
Okay.
for completion on the first set. And I will say, since that press announcement in general, I have received several phone calls from people who are
Great.
interested in being placed on a list. Obviously, as Aaron mentioned, we don't yet know a sale price. That stuff's to be determined. Full eligibility, I assume we would do something similar to our current project, so we'd be targeting between 80 and 100% AMI for sale. I do know that New York State does allow at minimum, a $35,000 mortgage in the state of New York, so at least has to be that amount of money or greater. But at least right now, I'm taking a list of names, contact information, so when we're ready to fully go sell these, that those people will be contacted. We probably have about 4 or 5 that have already expressed interest. So that's good. Some administrative housekeeping things. As Aaron mentioned, Joe Carlini is with us here today. He started the week after
Steal your thunder.
It's okay. It started the week after the 4th of July. He's currently in the office a few days a week, and will be here through the summer. And so far, he's been great to work with. He's been very helpful, interested in learning, and I hope he enjoys it. Hope he learns a lot. And for anybody who hasn't had a chance yet to introduce themselves, I would ask that you do so at the end of the meeting.
We do have a couple of esteemed MPA alumni on the board. At least one of them was here present with us today, I think. Right, Tom?
Oh, yeah.
That's it. So we're not gonna tell you the year he graduated. But as I understand it, Joe, you're finishing up one class over the summer in August, and then you're
Yes.
hot to trot. So
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, he's due to graduate with his MPA in August. As it relates to some staff and assistants in the office, as you all are aware, we posted the assistant director position with the assistance of the county personnel office and the planning department. We have been fielding applications and will do so through the middle of August. So far, we have received a few, and my plan would be to start conducting interviews sometime probably later in August, with the hope of making some sort of selection in September. Obviously, you guys will all be informed and made aware.
How many have you gotten?
We actually received another one today, so I'm trying to think, I want to say it's 1, 2, 3, I think 5 applications so far. Now there have been 1 or 2 that applied that I think the personnel office did, because when you automatically apply on the county website, it just generates an email to those involved. I have been notified by, I think, personnel, 1 or 2 of them may not fully qualify based on the job requirements, but as of today, right now, we've received, I think, 5 applications.
How many are internal?
I think
You
there's,
said at least one didn't qualify.
I think there's at least 1 that didn't qualify. There's 1 that's internal to the county overall, not necessarily the county building, but the
Yep.
county overall.
Works perfect.
I think everybody else is from outside the county, and several from outside the area.
It's very early though.
Correct. It's
Right.
only been up for,
Yeah.
I don't think it's even been up 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Not even maybe a week.
Be barely, yeah,
Week and a half maybe.
week and a half maybe.
Yeah.
But no, we'll continue fielding applications. When we have everything and we know who's fully qualified, I'll shorten that list down based on those to a handful to interview and go from there.
Yep.
As a friendly reminder, as I think I've mentioned a couple of times, our contracts for both our auditors and our construction managers are up at the end of the year, and we plan to issue, Joe actually has been helpful in starting to write those RFPs and those RFQs, updating our old ones, and we plan to probably issue those starting sometime in August. And then our next Land Bank Association meeting is this Thursday. I know as an association, even though the state budget was a little late this year and session just ended a month ago for the state, but I know the association really wants to take a more active approach as it relates to legislative priorities. And at the end of the legislative session, there were several land bank association directors that wanted to start talking about next year. So I have a feeling that will be the case for our meeting on Thursday, as well as that new HCR land bank funding that was just announced today.
And the state budget contained, you mentioned it before, contained good news. We're
Correct.
appreciative of the
yes.
legislature and the governor.
An additional $50 million total, 40 million in capital budget, and $10 million in aid to localities for land banks. And this is probably the beginning of that, which HCR did say when they released that smaller LBI round today, or announced it today, starting in August, that they anticipate later this fall, another round of LBI that's a little bit more robust. So we'll be on the lookout for that. And then last but not least, as it relates to the investments, we have still fully invested our $1.25 million. So far this year, our investments have garnered a little over $22,000. Total life of the ICS agreement has been just under $38,900 so far in investment income. And that's it.
Anything on financials you wanna, I know they're included in the board packet, Rob, anything? If the answer is no, that's okay.
No, nothing
Is there anything
major.
else that needs to be pointed out?
Most of our expenses have been more towards our VRP projects, as you can see on that overall P&L statement. A lot of those are the VRP with a few ARPA related expenses. And then a few small maintenance things. It's been a little quiet.
And money's moving on our two rehab stream on and
Right.
Columbia.
Yeah, John Gordon from Cleary Door and Window, they've been fully paid out as it relates to 27 Columbia. There've been a handful of draws already for Malarkey Construction at 5 Tremont. And yeah, things are just going swimmingly.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Questions for the executive director on his report? Okay, Rob, thank you. Then we're gonna move on to public and community advisory panel comments. Time in the agenda went well, you never know. We do have one individual sort of in the audience, but now's the time where anyone from the public is welcome to address the board for a period of not more than 5 minutes in relation to land bank items, operations.
Yeah.
Would always be preferred. We just ask that you please introduce yourself and then you can address the board. So anybody who wishes to speak? Anyone wishing to speak? Okay, we're gonna declare that portion of the meeting closed.
Okay.
And we'll move on to new business. Let's go to item number 6, Rob, which relates to the reconstruction and renovation at 5 Tremont Avenue.
Yeah, so this is asking for an amendment of adding an additional $10,000 to the not to exceed. Part of this is due to the fact that we had a little bit earlier a foundation issue that was not noticeable from inside the basement. It was only noticeable when the contractor was excavating outside the exterior of the basement. And additionally, I know we had obviously some rain today and last week there, and though we had a little bit of dry period, we have had unfortunately some water in the basement as the late spring, early summertime when we had a lot more rain. And there's not a direct low spot to just put a sump pump. So our construction manager and the contractor want to put an entire French drain system in the basement. And when you add all them up, it exceeds a little bit of our original not to exceed. However, I think I mentioned to you all that the second low bid was $258,000. So even with this minor amendment to the overall not to exceed amount, it's still well below our second low bid we had in the project. And this should be the last thing, as the contractor is done with a lot of that exterior work on the foundation. He'll be doing the French drain and everything else is just inside now and there's nothing that we're aware of that should be unanticipated going forward.
Where are they draining it to?
So they're planning to do a drain towards, I think, the front end of the house because of the way the yard kind of slopes towards the road. So the front of the house is closer to the road. So I believe on the side of the house, the closer to the front half of the house from the basement.
Okay. Right.
I'm messing with you, by the way, about that. Definitely do not want to drain it into the
Storm sewer.
into the septic, or not the septic, the sewer system that the city runs with.
No, understood. Yeah, understood.
But outside is acceptable in the backyard or side yard.
Yeah.
That'd be acceptable, I think.
It's not dissimilar to French drains we've done at several other homes that do not go directly into the sewer system.
Yeah.
Actually, Doug Malarkey at Malarkey Constructions had to do one or two at some of our other rehabs. I think he did one at 34 Andrews, but again, they drain to the exterior of the home. They do not go.
This would be inspected before by the city anyway.
Correct. The
before
city
we
does
do
all
this.
before, and I will say that the city is very thorough. The building and code.
As it should be. We want to be
Yes,
good.
correct.
good
And yeah,
residents.
we've had no issues with the installation of other similar, by the same contractor of similar French drain systems.
There it is.
It will be according.
Yes,
Absolutely.
correct. 100%.
High standards, yes.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions about this one, 115 Tremont? If not, I'd entertain a motion to authorize, an amendment to the agreement with Malarkey Construction LLC for the renovation and reconstruction at 5 Tremont Avenue in the city of Binghamton. Do we have a motion?
I have much.
Tony, thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries. All right, item number 7, related to 61 Park Avenue, please, Rob.
This is authorizing the sale of 61 Park Avenue to Nicolino Dorenzo. He is one of the co-owners of Dorenzo Construction. He is one of the neighbors directly to 61 Park Avenue. Both neighbors on both sides of 61 Park had originally issued had sent to our office their side lot applications. Obviously, since it's been quite a while since we undertook that demolition the fall last year, I reached back out within the last month to both interested parties, asking them to confirm their interest and whether or not their original offer is still their highest and best offer. The one neighbor, Mr. Austin, kept his offer at the same. Mr. Dorenzo has decided to increase his offer to the $5,100 that's in the reso in front of you. And it is my recommendation to award that sale to Mr. Dorenzo.
$5,100,
Yes, correct.
61 Park Avenue. Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to authorize the executive director to execute a sales contract for the sale of 61 Park Avenue in the city of Binghamton to Nicolino M. Dorenzo. We have a motion.
So moved.
Chris, thank you. Do we have a second? Tony, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Item number 8, related to 8 Mattis.
I think it's pronounced Mattis.
Do we have a city expert? Mattis?
I live in the city. I'm not familiar with that specific street.
By St. Michael's.
Yes, it's behind the St. Michael's gymnasium area.
I'd pronounce
It's
it
like a
Mattis.
paper street almost, like I think there's like one
Yeah.
house on it.
So this is for the sale, or
Yeah,
sorry,
tell us about it, Rob.
for the demolition of 8 Mattis Street. 8 Mattis Street is essentially a one vehicle road, which really is more or less an access to the parking lot of the St. Michael's Church / school / gymnasium behind, next to it. I have had initial discussions, and I think I mentioned it in the packet, that our initial thought would be to essentially work out a donation with the St. Michael's Church, because that Mattis otherwise is essentially landlocked. And the only way to get to it for the demolition would be through essentially the church access point. And I have not been in that one yet. Actually, I haven't been in any of these, but the photo is from when I last checked it out around February timeframe, late February, early March, as you can see from the snow. But it looks like it's in rough shape, and it's definitely a candidate. Was one that all of these we worked with the real property department in order to acquire earlier this year. And just so everybody's aware, the initial budgetary numbers are estimates from Borough Construction. And obviously estimates tend to be a little bit higher than when the ultimate expenses come to fruition on a bid package.
Rob, quick question about all these next set of demo resos.
Yes.
When you work with the folks in real property, I'm assuming there's a checklist of some things that make you guys determine that, yeah, this one's viable for demolition. It's not worth trying to salvage and renovate.
Yeah.
Or sell to somebody else.
So a couple of these on here are, as an example, 2 of them are fire damaged, both Griswold and Rush Ave on the south side. Those have fire damage in them. I know that Munsell, the back portion of the roof, even though it's not noticeable in the photo, the back half of the roof is collapsing. So those are right off the bat 3 examples. And generally what will happen is, and I haven't really gone through this much myself yet, but generally what happens is when a foreclosure list comes around and has been approved by the judge, more often than not, the real property department has examples of properties that tell you, like, these are ones we think should not go to auction. These are the ones we think really need to go. Or some have been cyclical of they've been through an auction. They've been through an auction, they've been bought, they've been foreclosed upon. And there generally is a lot of that criteria.
Okay.
Usually they're looking at the worst of the worst.
Okay.
Rob, one thing I would ask on this one, obviously, I think we should approve the proposed demolition project. One thing that it would be good to know, at least initial outreach to St. Michael's.
Yes, I had initial conversation. Yeah,
Fine.
sorry,
You
I
think
haven't
they're,
gotten that
you
far.
think they're
So
like okay with letting us get access through their property? to
So
demolish
I
it?
did, yeah, I started out by having initial conversation with the pastor
Good.
there, and he was very open. Obviously, he told me they'd love, even if they ultimately don't receive the property on the back end, they would love to see that gone because it's right behind all of their properties. It is an eyesore, has been an issue for some issues in the neighborhood. So one, they were very open to the fact of letting us.
Good.
It's
That was
technically
really
it's a
my
road.
concern.
It's not owned by them.
Okay,
But it is going to be, like, we're gonna have to probably do some staging in their parking lot. So they were very open to that idea.
good, okay.
And obviously, they did express interest that they would be willing to take the property when it's all said and done.
Fine. As long as we can at least use their
Correct. Yeah.
area, they're not opposed to that. That would
Correct.
be
They're
good.
not opposed to that, and they would be, their next question to me was, when do you plan to start? And I said, probably not till the fall, but they were very happy. They asked to be kept informed, and we would need to coordinate because there would be staging in the parking lot, things of that nature. So we would definitely be coordinating with the church.
Good, thank you. Any other questions about this one? Okay, then, if not, I'd entertain a motion to approve a proposed demolition project for 8 Mattis Street in the city of Binghamton. Do we have a motion? Mike, thank you. A second. Chris, thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, number 9, resolution related to 32 Griswold Street in the city of Binghamton.
Yeah, this is one of the two that's fire damaged. It's right over on the east side. It's kitty corner from Cortez, close. It's like 1 or 2 houses down from Robinson Street there. This one definitely needs to go with the fire damage on it. You can see it from the side of it. I'm not sure exactly to the extent. This is one that we strongly believe in, talking to our environmental consultants, that the city would be condemning because it's hard to abate asbestos and things of that nature when the home is fire damage like that. Right now, specifically for Griswold, for Rush, and for Rush, and then both Gerard and Walnut. Right now, I want to potentially hold some of these properties, so I have not contacted the neighbors as it relates to any future projects, such as tiny homes, such as any other HCR developments for new construction. At the moment, those 4 are ones I'd like to hold in our inventory. But should we find the property is not feasible in the future, then I would look to contact any of the neighbors for a side lot sale.
Questions about 32 Griswold? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve a proposed demolition project at 32 Griswold Street in the city of Binghamton. Tony, thank you. A second. Mike, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? It carries. All right, item number 10, Rob, related to 37 months old in the city of Binghamton.
Yeah, 37 months old. This is the one that is partially, the roof is in the back collapsed. It's also referred to as 35/37 months old, depending on how it's been listed. This one is completely surrounded by greater opportunities properties, including one of their newer developments. I have had initial conversation with Kelly Robertson, who is the assistant director over there, and she has talked to Mark Sylvanik, their director. They are strongly interested in this property on the back end because they own every other parcel surrounding it, and they would love to do another development with the other vacant lots. They've just been waiting for something to happen with this property because, again, they have a very nice, I think within the last year or two, Tony, I don't know if you know, that the newer development that they opened is only a year or two old.
Yeah, it's not the, right.
Yeah. So they're very excited about this demo as well. And they would love to see it down. And again, they have strongly expressed interest, and there are no other technical, if you want to look at it, side lot neighbors as completely surrounding the properties owned by Greater Ops.
Questions about 37 Munsell Street project? If not, I entertain a motion to approve a demolition project at 37 Munsell Street in the city of Binghamton. A motion. Tony, thank you. Second, Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. All right, and number 11, 49 Rush Avenue.
Yep, 49 Rush is the other one that's currently fire damaged. So this one, we are again strongly seeking condemnation in partnership with our environmental consultants, and we've had an initial contact with the city code office, and actually they're double checking to make sure that they haven't technically issued any sort of unsafe structure letters already on these parcels. This is again another one I want to hold for the moment for any potential future development. But again, like with 32 Griswold, should there be any issues with potentially developing there, then we would look to side lot to any of the neighbors.
Yep.
And it's right there on the south side. I think that's parallel to Penn Ave.
All right, any questions about this one? Do we have a motion to approve or propose demolition project at 49 Rush Avenue?
So moved.
Chris, thank you. A second. Mike, thank you. Any other comments, questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. All right, item number 12,
Yep, so I'm gonna kind of talk about both of these in conjunction because they're both right next to each other.
51 Gerard and 124 Walnut Street,
Yep.
numbers 12.
124 Walnut Street is on the corner of Walnut and Girard, and it's right at the end of Walnut Street. And then right behind / next to it is where 51 Girard Ave is. These specifically, I would like to keep for potential development because they're right next to each other. Should again, tiny homes, an area where we could place multiple of them in a smaller area. There's not a community, but again, in a very close proximity to each other. 124 Walnut Street is what they call a row building. So it has a commercial structure that is attached to a multifamily residential property, all of it on one. And then right next door is 51 Girard, which I believe is a single family home, if I remember correctly. And all of these are in pretty rough shape. I think it was called A-Shed Appliances, maybe, is what was there on the corner. It's right across from the park on Walnut Street there at the corner. So I think this specifically would be a very good one to hold these two, being in the fact that, again, if we continue the tiny homes projects, that we could put multiple of them right in the same area.
Mhm. All right, makes sense. Any questions? We have a resolution, they'll do them obviously separate, resolution to approve a proposed demolition project at 51 Gerard Avenue in the city of Binghamton. We have a motion. Tony, thank you. A second. Chris, thank you. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It carries. Resolution to approve a proposed demolition project at 124 Walnut Street in the city of Binghamton. Any other questions about that? Comments? Do we have a motion?
Tom Augustine, make the motion.
Tom Augustine makes a motion. Okay, you know where that is. We have a second.
I'll second Tom.
Chris, thank you for that. Any further questions, comments?
Just one more kind of in general.
yeah.
What's the status with the landfill and asbestos?
So yeah, right now, originally, we've been told that they're anticipating late November, early December. However, my last conversations with Deb Smith, the director, is they're hopeful potentially October. But again, nothing's finalized until they have the 5 feet of compacted residential garbage in order to basically what happens is they dig holes in different areas of the cell in order to place it, the asbestos material. But as of right now, they're still not accepting ACM material to my knowledge. And again, while they're hoping for earlier, we're still sticking with the initial timeframe we've been given, but she is leaning towards the potential of October. But
And the ones that need asbestos abatement, that impacts these demos then.
correct. So what happens right now, as an example, I've had a few conversations when Gork provided us some estimates. And when I've had conversations with both Keystone and Delta, because they both do environmental for us, is that right now, any abatement work, because we've had to have a few small abatement done on some of our VRP projects, that essentially what's happening is they're transporting them outside of the area, which they're allowed to do now. Technically, the county charter requires that all debris generated within the counties will stay within the county, but my understanding is when
They can't accept it.
stop order on ACMs, they can't accept it, they've issued orders that said that you can take the debris outside. So whether it's LCP or Sunstream are the two bigger abatement firms here in Broome County, my understanding is that they're transporting it to either places like Elmira or even sometimes even actually on train to other areas.
Mhm. I think from a practical standpoint, we're not gonna be able to do that here. So we really need to wait for the landfill to be up, because the amount of material and the cost.
Right, the budget says you get a waiver of tipping fee, which just adds to the cost if we're not
We're,
utilizing.
yeah, we're in a spot where we need to take it to our landfill.
Yeah.
It would be
Yeah.
Correct. And the initial-
a lot less affordable.
Yeah, on the chairman's point, when I had my initial conversations about these projects back when the county was looking to provide them to the land bank, the estimates they gave us for transporting of the entire material, because again, if they're condemned and they have to come down hot, everything is seen as asbestos.
Yeah.
So with that assumption, in the beginning earlier this year, when they gave me numbers on transporting out of the county, it was quite large for all 6 of them to go outside the county completely. And it's something we wanted, that's why we've waited as long as we have an acquisition. And also, though we're approving the demo now, I've had conversations with Keystone specifically, while they're gonna start prepping all the work for a bid package. Our plan is not to bid this until I have a time, like a set time frame. Say for the sake of argument, the landfill says October 1st, we can take debris. Okay, let's get a bid package out the door to where we can award this and begin at that time. But they understand that, they're willing to work with us on that, but my plan is not to undertake any of these demos until we know the county landfill can take the debris.
Do we have, title of these properties now, Rob?
Yes, we just acquired
We
it in
just
the last
did.
week.
Yeah.
Or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
we
this is-
just fully took title of the
This
property.
is the next step, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
That's the
but
reason-
even so, even if we approve the demo projects now, and we're in late July, the time frame is not weird anyway.
No,
Like, that's not an
no.
abnormal time frame. If we
No,
were
'cause-
planning to demolish something in October, going through this process in late July, and it's really only August and September. It's not a lot of time anyway.
Correct, because there's a lot of
About
work,
right.
there's a lot of work Keystone will have to do to prepare the bid package. We'll have to figure out what properties are fully condemned,
Okay,
what properties may have to be abated.
Yeah.
And then get everything all, so that takes several weeks to probably a 2
This
months.
fits in with the time frame of
Correct.
October or November demolition anyway.
Correct.
I will say too, just as an aside, on these, everybody noticed are city properties. This was the last round of foreclosures through the county. Big help from County Executive Garner, Chairman Reynolds, the
Correct.
legislature, Wendy Hughes,
Yep.
Real Property on this to help us come up with this list. There is another round of non-city foreclosures potentially coming later this year as well, that
Yeah,
we'll be working on.
last I knew, there is a countywide list that is with the court system now. They're
Okay,
still,
court.
they're still waiting on the sign off,
Yep.
but that would be the next list of
Yep.
countywide,
So that'll
outside of
be-
the city of Binghamton.
That'll be the next set we would see is non-city properties
Correct.
this year.
Yeah.
So I know questions come up about non-city properties. It's just a timing matter as it relates to why city is here and then non-city is later.
Correct, and then right now, in the past, where the real property department has tried to undertake 2 foreclosures a year, 1 countywide, 1 city.
Mhm.
Because of everything since COVID and the Supreme Court decision in Tyler v. Hennepin and the changes in the state foreclosure process, right now they're churning them out one after another because they are still a little behind. But they are literally, the city list is approved, let's get on the county list, okay? When the county list is approved, they'll be getting ready to submit the next city list, and they're just trying to churn them out right now.
Again, we're appreciative of the.
Oh, yeah, we greatly appreciate the
Executive.
support.
Yeah.
Has Habitat for Humanity expressed interest in any of these properties?
So these ones specifically, I have not discussed with Habitat. We have had discussions in the past on some sites. Habitat is starting to do a little more development in the city of Binghamton. It's not been their preference. They're usually more interested in some of the countywide ones where there still are public utilities. So if we got a list and we did a demolition, say in Town of Union, City of Binghamton, or sorry, Town of Vestal, Town of Dickinson, Shenango, those kinds of ones with public utilities, that's a little bit more of what their interest is in. But I will say we've had a really good working relationship with their current director. She's actually tried to bring some potential buyers to us that may not have worked out for some of the Habitat homes. So actually her and I have conversations usually almost like every other month on the phone. Whether it's somebody she wants to put in contact with us, vice versa. And I'd be more than happy to consider potentially anything. Like I said, if we can't utilize any of these properties, I'd be more than happy to have discussions with Habitat on those as well, in addition to, or in lieu of the sidewalk program.
And so the next foreclosure list, what year is that?
I think it's the 22 county list, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think it's the 2022.
Yeah,
foreclosure.
remember this, correct my math on it, too bad Wendy's not here.
Yeah,
Correct my math on this. This is the first list we've had
correct.
since Tyler versus Hennepin and the state's
Changes.
moratorium
Correct.
and the state's changes to the process. So it seems weird. We wouldn't normally be that old, that was the right word to say it, but we wouldn't be that far behind, except for, our friends in the Supreme Court, and our friends in the legislature, put a couple of bumps along the way. But yeah, that sounds right, 2022 to me.
Yeah, I believe it's because the Tyler v. Hennepin was decided in later 2023. So I believe it's the 2022 countywide list. That's the one that's with the judge right now.
Yeah.
It's either 22 or 23, but I think it's a 22.
And then they'll do one more, and that will be 23.
Correct. That would be the county. Then they would begin the 23 foreclosure process. Well, they're already in the process of doing all like their notices to the property owners. It's more or less when they go to the judge for approval.
And that's the problem that we just can't, nobody can answer, is how long it'll take for them. to
Yeah, the
file.
last one took a good couple months.
But a
It all
couple,
depends.
At least, I bet 4 months.
Yeah.
Correct. And they're still down in the, due to the retirement
Right.
because Judge Cawley was the one, I think, who was
Yep. he wants-
approving these
yeah.
before. He's since retired. And obviously that hasn't been filled yet. So there is a little bit.
People
of
are doing
that,
double
So that's,
duty.
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
part of the.
but hoping sooner rather than later.
And again, board members have ideas about that. I know everybody's good about sharing that with Rob. Municipalities let you know too. We're always happy to just look into a property. If someone has a question about it, we can always, dig in a
Correct.
little bit
Yeah,
and see
we-
where things stand.
Yeah, we've had, like I said, we've had several municipal agencies contact us. I've had a few other elected officials, such as county legislators. I think a few board members have asked about some potential projects. So some of them are on future lists. It's just gonna be a little bit.
And members of the public. all of them
Correct.
reach out.
Oh, yeah, we get calls all the time about properties that may be coming up for foreclosure.
Rob, just about that, just remind, did I forward you the addresses and photos of places in Shenango Forks that a friend of mine reached out about?
Correct, yes, there are,
Okay.
yeah, there are, and I think
Okay.
most of those unfortunately are privately owned and
Okay.
when checking on them are still up to date on their taxes.
Okay, and ideally, right, I think I speak for everybody, ideally here, private ownership, people paying their taxes, improving their properties, fixing them up. That's the ideal. I mean, that's the ideal approach. I think we've seen this as it relates to other projects earlier this year. A lot of times we're the partner of last resort, right? I'm happy being that. I'm fine, I think we're fine being that. Sometimes there's things that just won't get done other ways. But ideally, individual private homeowners, fix up their properties, pay their taxes and good things happen that way.
Yeah.
When they don't, that's when we're here to step in and help out.
Correct,
So,
but obviously that corridor is something that's always on the forefront of our minds.
Yep, agreed. Okay, where did I leave off, Rob? We still need to vote on.
We have a motion and a second on 124.
Okay. Good. Well, short of any other questions or conversation, we have a resolution to approve the proposed demolition project at 124 Walnut Street in the city of Binghamton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That carries. And I think that wraps up our regular business. The
Correct.
desk is clear.
The desk
so to
is
speak.
clear.
Okay. Do we have any other old business to come before the board? Okay, I trust you, as you always do, keep us up to speed via email. If something happens
Will
in their
do.
meeting time, I'm sure there'll be some developments. When is the next meeting, Rob?
Tentatively, it is August 18th.
Tentatively August 18th. Mark your calendars and if anything changes on that, we'll let you know. Any other business to come before the board? If not, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Tony, thank you. We have a second on adjournment.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye. Aye. If you're opposed, you probably already have voted, so unanimously opposed, or unanimously approved, excuse me. We're adjourned.